Hey, we are live. Give everyone a second to get on here while I pull up the notes I made. Yes, I am just so excited to be here with you guys. And of course, my notes have gone somewhere. Oh, there they are. All right, just so I can stay on track. I'd love to hear where you are. And if you watch this live, hashtag live. And if you watch it later, hashtag replay. Okay, so I want to start with something that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But if you're honest, you are going to know exactly what it is that I am talking about. So let me get my notes in order here. Okay. Have you ever felt like you know you're called, you're supposed to do this thing, but there's something in you that keeps saying, not yet, I'm not ready. I need more time. I need more clarity. I'm not sure how to do it. And on the outside, that can look like patience. But I think if we were to look on the inside, it's actually hesitation. And today I want to talk about that space that it's so many entrepreneurs live in, okay? And so many people that feel called live in. Because a lot of people are calling it waiting for the right time, or just waiting for ... when it's actually something else. So welcome to the Arise Hour with Dr. Martha Nessler, where we are going to renew our minds, reclaim our identity, and align our lives with heaven's blueprint so we can rise into the life that God created us to live. So what I want to do is name something very clearly. And that is that most women are not stuck because they lack calling. They are stuck because they don't trust themselves to carry the calling. Okay. I'm going to say that one more time. Most women, including yourself, are not stuck because they lack a calling. They, women, or should I say you, woman, it's because you don't trust yourself to carry the calling. And that creates this internal tension because you're feeling this pull to fulfill your purpose, but you're also feeling the weight of the responsibility to carry the purpose. And I know this well. And it's one of the reasons I feel God has called me to talk about this topic. So instead of moving forward, you pause, you hesitate, and then what do? You start to negotiate with God. I don't know how many of you want to admit if you've been there, but you start saying, like, hey, God, what about this? What about that? And so there's this lie that we tell ourselves. And I say it's a lie because I don't know that it's really true. I'm just waiting on God. And I want to challenge that waiting on God. As a matter of fact, we are kind of talking about Moses here. And, in Exodus 14:14, it says, be still and know that I'm God. But Exodus 14:15 says, why are you crying out to me? Move. So there is this call to wait, but sometimes we also, in the waiting, need to take the action we know to take. Because a lot of the time God has spoken. We know the step. We know what to do. Moses knew what to do, right? But it was uncomfortable. And it just like it stretched him, it stretches us. And I've been there, so I get it. And I walk with women daily through this uncomfortable stretching. Because when we're being stretched, we have to show up differently. And that's scary. And what we do is we rename that fear and we call that fear waiting. And really, it's just fear being disguised as something else. When we talked about Moses this week and why I try to tie my coaching hour to these biblical leaders is because I don't want you to think this is my idea. I want you to see how, in the Bible, the circumstances are different, so to speak, but God is the same. So how do you take your circumstances, plug it into biblical wisdom? Because that's the same God, right? So Moses didn't feel unqualified. Moses didn't feel just unqualified. he had fear, right? Because he argued with God. And he literally stood there and argued with God, which sometimes just blows my mind. Like, who am I? Like, why me? How many of you have said that? Or what if they don't listen? What if I can't speak well? I mean, that wasn't humility. That was insecurity. And God did not say, he didn't just stand there and listen to Moses and go, okay, Moses, I'm going to correct your competence. Instead, he shifted his focus from the insecurity, from the fear, and said, I'll be with you. And that same God does that with you. So if right now you're sitting in this unknown, this insecurity, know that God may not just like lightning bolt confidence or lightning bolt security into you, but what he will do is remind you that he's there. And you need to, sometimes I need to say it, and I'm going to throw it out there for you. God, show me your face. Show me where you are in this situation. Because the real reason you don't feel ready is not because well, let me rephrase that. Let me think what I want to say here. The real reason you don't feel ready, it's because you're looking at the size of the assignment, the vastness of the calling, okay? And you're looking at your current capacity, your current set of abilities, and you're like, God, I can't. And that's self-sufficiency. It's that I have to power through, I have to muscle through, I have to do it alone, okay? But if we look at our capacity and our skill set compared to the callings that God has on our life, we can also look through the Bible, and we can look at modern day people as well. It'll never add up. Because when God calls you and asks you to do something, he is not asking you to do something sustained only by you. This is that phrase I love. If it's God's will, he fits the bill, right? When he calls you, he equips you. So this is where your self-sufficiency often gets exposed, because you can build a life on your own strength. And there's certain things you can do in your own strength, but you cannot walk out the calling God has placed on your life alone, because you need him. Because when he calls you, it is 9.9 out of 10 times bigger than you. Okay. So this is where I want to go deeper, because I don't think most women are passive. I don't believe that. I believe most women are ready to take action, especially the women that would be on here watching this channel. Okay. And if that's you, say, yes, that's me. I am actually looking at too many screens right now to know who's on, but I think most women are overwhelmed. And what do you do when you feel overwhelmed? You attempt to control everything. It's that juggling a million balls, wearing a million hats, and you're just attempting to control it all. Or you may be one of the ones that pulls back. I'm overwhelmed. I'm just going to step back and I'm just going to watch it all unfold. You delay, you disconnect, you stop fully showing up, you're not present. And this is where passive leadership begins. But I don't believe it's a rebellion, or I don't want to do what you're asking me, God, but I believe it's an overload. It's a, God, I feel it's too much for me. And most likely it is. And I want to speak directly to the woman who is leading something right now. Maybe you're building a business, or you're in charge of leading your home, and you're leading homeschool. And some of you are leading a business, leading a home, leading a homeschool, right? And you're making decisions and you're carrying responsibility, and people are looking at you. And sometimes it might feel like everybody's looking at you. But there's still these areas where you're hesitating. These areas where you're not fully stepping in. You're not playing full out, as they would say. And the reason this matters, and I want to speak to your heart, because passive leadership at the level that you're playing at doesn't just affect you. It affects your growth. It affects your income. It affects your ability to scale. It affects the people you're called to serve. And this is the work I do. I help women close the gap between what they know and how they actually lead. Okay. So I'm going to say this very clearly. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. And it's not because you're trying to disobey God, but because you're choosing comfort over movement. And I say that with love, because I've been there. I have been so comfortable I was almost paralyzed at moving forward. It doesn't mean I didn't want to. It doesn't mean I didn't feel the calling. So know that it doesn't mean you're broken or that you don't have the desire. It's that you would rather stay in comfort. So you're probably wondering, okay, that's me. So what do I do now, right? What am I supposed to do? And here's the shift I want you to make, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to stop asking, hey, God, am I ready? God, am I ready? Am I ready? Ask your friends, are you ready? Asking everybody if you're ready. You know, some of you are like asking your toddler, do you think mommy's ready? But start asking, like, do I trust God enough to move? Because readiness is rooted in self, okay? But trust is rooted in God. So the need to be ready is a self need. But when we trust, that is us needing everything from God, right? And knowing that we don't have what it takes, okay? Because here's the thing, you don't just feel confident so that makes you a leader. Oh, here I am, I'm super confident. So I'm a leader. Now everybody do what I say. No, it's not like that. You become a leader when you respond. Okay. Leadership is a decision. This is not just a feeling you have one day. It's a decision. And that means God puts his calling on your life and you have to make the decision that God, I am going to step forward in trust with you in this business, in this thing you're calling me to do, in this leadership capacity, maybe in church or school, I'm going to step forward, right? Because every time you choose that type of obedience, you're stepping more and more into this calling that God has for you. It's like each step of faith, it almost takes you deeper into the calling, okay? So I want to take you guys through some questions, and I want you to really just get clear with yourself. And if you want to write them down or come back, but where in my life am I saying not yet? Where in my life am I saying not yet? I know God has spoken, but I'm like, hey, God, could you wait? Okay. Or another question to really ask yourself is, what am I afraid will happen if I actually step into this? Like, is there a fear attached to it? Like, if I step forward and do this thing God asked me to do, I will be afraid. I'm afraid this will happen. Are you avoiding doing the thing, but calling it waiting on God? Like, oh, I'm over here waiting on God. Oh, yep. Hey, yeah. So like you're waiting on the bus or waiting for your friend that never calls you back to call, right? And then where am I relying on myself instead of trusting God? Where am I stuck in self-sufficiency? And then this always is a big one. And this is what I do when I feel stuck. So I'll give you this. What is one step I already know but haven't taken? What is one thing? And I did that this morning. The Lord has really put it on my heart to share my life more. And there's a lot of reasons I haven't. But this morning I had to do it. So I did it. I'm committed to going live daily. And it was, I don't have a time. I don't know, like, where am I going to fit it? What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And even if I do it messy, I'm going to do it. So I'm not here on this coaching hour because I know everything. I'm on this coaching hour because I've either walked it and I want to walk alongside you, or I will be, or I'm walking through it and I will share that with you. I am not the person who knows everything. Like, I have learned in my life that humility will bring me farther with the Lord than anything else. So I'm ready to walk this out with you guys. So this week I want you to do this. Okay. This is my coaching homework to you. Sorry, I apologize. I got off on a little bit of a tangent, but I want you to identify one area in your life where you feel called, but you don't feel ready. Okay. Now remember, feel called and you don't feel ready. Those are feelings, but anyways, we'll talk about that at a different time. But ask yourself this. So in this thing, what would obedience look like this week? What's one thing I could do to step into this calling that I know I need to be doing, even if I'm not ready? What can I just do? And it is easy. And I'm laughing because this morning, it's funny how these lessons sometimes, as I'm ready to prepare them, God puts me through it again. Like there's been so many times I didn't feel ready, including this morning. But you don't need to feel ready to be called, okay? And you don't need to feel confident to be used. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the next step. You just need to be willing. And if you are listening to this and thinking, I know exactly where I'm holding back, you don't need any more information. What you need is support and alignment. And here's what I want you to do. If this really hit home for you, okay, and you know that you've been holding back, I want you to comment ARISE, ARISE, and I will send you the link to join my free community where we will walk this out together in faith, in leadership, and purpose. And I look forward to seeing you on the next ARISE hour, which is currently Thursdays at 2 p.m. Central.